All right. So nobody cares. I mean, it's so strange because yesterday my friend called me up, Sean. I've had him on the show before. I used to live with him in San Diego, and he calls me up and he's saying how we're gonna be able to go into space. We're gonna soon we're gonna be able to go into space, and I'm like telling him about Virgin Galactic and Richard Branson and like how Richard Branson's been trying to go into space for 20 years, and he keeps telling us every 5 years he's going to have civilians in space. And we were just talking about this last night, and lo and behold, I wake up in the morning, and well, wouldn't you know it? Let's check it out. Look at this. This is Virgin's actual site here. Nothing to see here, just pyramids with eyes in them, with the golden halo around. This is Virgin.com, Richard Branson. This is today by Richard Branson. Today, Richard Branson. This is his website, uploaded by him. There's Illuminati, all-seeing eyes all over the background. Virgin Galactic's second space flight, and the first Scot in space. And there's Live Life Better, Read Series. That's what I titled this hangout. Delighted that Virgin Galactic spaceship VSS Unity reached space for the second time today, going higher and faster towards the dream of creating thousands of private astronauts from every corner of the globe. Look at this. Richard Branson himself. Look at this beautiful footage here. Check this footage out. No sound. Just woo! Dropping that. Oh yeah, we're citizens in there. We're flying through the air. Oh! Almost got out of the camera view there. I mean, you can't possibly fake this. I mean, this is no different than PS1 graphics still. Guys, I was playing PlayStation 1 in 1998. 1999. The graphics were better in PS1 20 years ago. Why are the graphics better 20 years ago? No, I don't want to watch that again. Ugh. Oh, let's check out the... There's got to be some... That's so amazing. Blessed to you, mankind. We really appreciate that. Yeah, check your DMs. Okay, Tyler. Richard Branson's gonna check your DMs because you told him so. Hey, this is so awesome. Fake as fuck. That is fake as fuck. Like my own comment, I don't give a shit. Good God. I was gutted that I couldn't be there on the flight line to celebrate with the team, but I had already committed to being in Colombia to help organize a concert. I don't care about your fucking concert. Yeah, more on that later. Let's go back to space. Weather wasn't cooperating. Shut up. I couldn't be any prouder of the team. There was another exciting first for Virgin Galactic as Chief Pilot Dave Mackey became the first Scottish-born astronaut. Dave, an ex-RAF test pilot and Virgin Atlantic captain who I've known for many years, was joined by pilot Mike Such Muscati. They both have completed a rocket-powered test before, but this was their first space flight together. Congratulations. Oh, wow, cool. Test flight. Looks super real and super cool. Whoa! You know it's real because it looks so fake. Chief Astronaut Instructor, Beth Moses. Whoa, Beth. What are you seeing out there? Look at your inside your glasses. See a curve, a car. Oh, they got a curve right there. Look at this curve. And then she's seeing a reverse curve? Apparently the Earth is curved convex. Convex Earth. Well, no, it's actually reversed. You're seeing it in reverse because, oh God, just shut up. Spaceship VSS Unity has also carried an additional member on board, Beth Moses, Virgin Galactic's chief astronaut instructor. Beth, who has been overseeing my own training, is an expert microgravity researcher and flew microgravity. Sorry, I just read microgravity researcher, and boy oh boy does that make me chuckle on the inside. Beth, who has been overseeing my own training, is an expert microgravity researcher and flew in the cabin as a third member, and she is the first woman to fly on board a commercial spaceship. You would think the first woman to fly on board a commercial spaceship would be huge news for you feminists out there. Her role was to provide human validation for some of the data that has been collected by sensors on previous flights. Oh, her role was to provide human validation? Oh, okay. Huh. And verify specific physical elements of the cabin interior. Beth will make sure that our customer journey is as flawless as the spaceship itself. Whoa! I'm not acting at all. I'm Beth Moses, chief astronaut instructor. First woman in space, but I'm the chief astronaut instructor. Even though I've never been to space before, and this is my first time. Whoa! This is my first time in space. I'm a chief astronaut instructor, though, and that's my first time in space. Makes total fucking sense. The crew enjoyed extraordinary views. Shout out to my group on Facebook. The League of Extraordinary Flat Earthers, or Flat Earth Subgeniuses. The crew enjoyed extraordinary views of Earth from the black skies of space, enduring several minutes of weightlessness, while the pilots feathered the spaceship in preparation for a Mach 3 re-entry. Sorry, a Mach 2.7 re-entry. Beth floated free to complete her test points. Oh, whoa! Whoa! Oh, that looks so real. Because it looks so fake. Wow. The spaceship then glided back home with a smooth runway landing and enormous cheers from the crowd. Yeah! We're all white people! It's always white people! It's always out of shape. Horribly out of shape white people, and Kelsey Grammer here. Yay! Horribly out of shape white people and Kelsey Grammer. Yay! Whoa! I'm really in space, you can tell. Yo, look at this shit. Look at this fucking. This is Virgin Galactic. There's Illuminati pyramids, all-seeing eyes. This is by him. Look at. I'll go to his fucking Twitter. Look at this shit. This is Richard. This is fucking where's his podcast? I'm gonna check out his podcast. I'm gonna fucking check out Richard Branson's fucking podcast. Where is this fucking thing? Where's your podcast, Richard? Breaking Barriers? Is that what it's called? No. Look at all these podcasts you got there, Richard. Okay. Look at this Virgin. Let's check this. Does it really have all-seeing eyes? The scent of other worlds. So look at this. So this is Virgin.com. I click this, and Illuminati all-seeing eyes in the background. Oh man! Just so you know, I'm not fucking around. Oh, that site changed. Now it wants us. Look, it's onto us. AI. Hurricane appeal. Please donate to us. We are not taking your money. Help us rebuild. Local BVI community. Virgin Unite. We swear we're not up to any nefarious deeds. Look at these crazy assholes. Look at that. I guarantee you they're causing these fucking natural, quote unquote, natural disasters in these towns and cities and countries. And then they go there. And then they take all your money that you donate to these poor, poor people. Let's check it out. Boom. Richard Branson. I'm following you, right? Good sir. Yeah. Okay, is this the one? No, I don't want to follow this crappy ass podcast. Ah, there it is. Oh, you don't have it? Fascinating to hear from 3 entrepreneurs who built their businesses around social media. Okay, well, I'll give that a listen. I'll listen to that. You know, I mean, as a social entrepreneur myself, I have to see what my competition is doing, you know, businesses around social media. Ugh. It's just so gross. I'm so sick of these fucking people. I was in the live stream, had to watch my comments, but still make people think. What are you talking about, Dr. Michael Miller, PhD? What live stream were you in? The one where Virgin Galactic, Virgin Galactic's live stream? Bye, Scott. Globes have corners now. What's up, Skipnut? Proctor. Whoa! Do you remember when Branson's mate, Steve Fawcett, went missing? The one who sets lots of records sailing and ballooning around the world? You may find that interesting. Oh yeah, that dude did go missing. Chief Crow and the Flat Earthworms. Peace from Silverton, Oregon, home of cross-eyed astronaut Don Petit. You know, I'd love to go back to the moon in a I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but we just don't have the technology to go back there. We destroyed it. You know? Totally normal here. Nothing to see here. You know? What a joke. Okay, so VSS Unity flew a little higher and faster than ever before with the world record holding hybrid rocket motor, propelling the spaceship at Mach 3 to an apogee of. So apparently that's when you can see the curvature of the Earth now. You know, it's the world record holding motor now, propelling the spaceship at Mach 3 at almost 300,000 feet now, folks. So apparently you don't see the curvature of the Earth at. Just ignore that you can see boats going over the horizon, according to the globeheads. Ignore that. Ignore what the globeheads say to us, flat earthers. That ignore what the globe earthers say, guys. That the boats go over the horizon. You know, the ships go over the horizon. Ignore that completely. airplanes are not high enough to see the curvature of the Earth. Neither are weather balloons or hot air balloons or balloons in general at 120,000, 25,000 feet. Can't see. We're still not high enough in an airplane at 35,000 feet. Which we're not high enough. We're high enough at the beach, according to the GLOBETARDS, where you can see the boats going past the curvature at the beach. But in an airplane at 35,000 feet up, you can't see the curvature of the Earth because the Earth is too big. And if you're in if you have a camera on a weather balloon, and your camera is telling you that the Earth is flat at 120,000 feet, you're still not high enough, according to the globalists. According to the globeheads, you have to be now it's 300,000 feet up, 295,000 feet up. That's when you start to see the curvature. And, you know, it just makes sense, you know. No one knows when you start to see the curvature of the Earth. No one knows the curvature of the Earth equation. Even though when you ask them for the curvature equation of the Earth, how do you find the Earth's curvature? What mathematical equation do you use? They'll avoid saying 8 inches per mile squared at all costs. Or if they do, they'll say that that's actually the incorrect equation. And when you ask them for the correct mathematical equation for the Earth's curvature, they will put their heads in the sand and ignore you. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up there. Let you know about that. How's that explanation? Do you guys like that explanation? I'm going to like my own video here. You guys like my own explanation? Was that a good explanation? I'm going to sing a sad song.
So let's remind it. What kind of borderline videos are we talking about here?
Right. So Google, in their blog post this morning, they gave us 3 examples. There was one, they said videos that promise cures for fake cures for serious illnesses. The other was Flat Earth, which is a conspiracy theory that has taken on remarkably kind of reached pop culture level, where you have like NBA stars and rap stars shouting the fact that they believe in a flat Earth.
This is a fascinating one. This is a fascinating one. I mean, there are innumerable videos on YouTube about like claiming that the Earth is flat.
So now they've invented this new category called borderline videos. They're not removed. They don't violate the policies. They promise they're going to try to remove them from recommendations. They promise they're going to try to remove them from recommendations.
So I think in the United States that false information will be something where you strike it from the platform.
If we are just suddenly saying like, we believe this to be true, I mean, look, like, is the Earth flat? Like, I think most people think it's flat. Like, I think most people think it's flat. I mean, I think it's round. But there are people out there who think it's flat.
These online corners of the internet that spread these conspiracy theories, and then it sort of seeps into the mainstream dialogue.
And I'm showing it here when there are videos that are focused around something that's a conspiracy. Next to the video, information from Wikipedia.
In terms of conspiracy theory content, generally, our goal is to promote authoritative content to our users. So we have 2 principles that guide the way here. That's the first one, is we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you up. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
Such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
Did you see what is going on with this kind of international censorship? Of course, you know, in the official blog of
investigation from, they have.
It was invented in medieval universities.
Well, what I'm really saying is we know a lot less than we assume we know. I mean, if someone tells you that we live around a typical star at the edge of a typical galaxy strewn through a mega space trillions of times larger, I mean, they don't know what they're talking about. That's just the cheerful assurance of modern astronomy based on a bunch of fishy formulas that were cooked up within the confines of the 20th century. I mean, the stars that shine down at night could be painted dots on a scrim for all we know. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case, but what I am saying is I think...
No, Terrence, I think you were a lot closer than you realized. You said that, oh, for all I know, the stars could be painted dots on a scrim, meaning a curtain, firmament.
Confines of the 20th century. I mean, the stars that shine down at night could be painted dots on a scrim for all we know. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case, but what I am saying is I think that the greatest disservice that science has done to humankind is the marginalizing of our own importance. If we even, let's take an objective measure I think complexity, if you look around at nature, at the fossil record, at the human family, complexity is clearly something very dear to nature. Nature preserves it, nature works through it, nature builds upon it. Well, we're told we're a minor this in orbit around a minor that in a typical that, and so forth and so on. But if you will look at the human cerebral cortex.
So now you notice that Terrence, he makes fun of modern science right here. He says, we're told that we're just a typical this around a, typical star and a typical galaxy. See how he says it? Listen.
We're told we're a minor this in orbit around a minor that in a typical that, and so forth and so on. But if you will look at...
So he, as he makes fun of modern science and modern astronomy, as he makes fun of that, in the very next couple of sentences, he goes right back into the globalist, heliocentric scientism, just fanatical zealot beliefs. Listen.
The human cerebral cortex, what you discover...
Not yet. It's in about like a minute. Just listen.
...is the most densely complexified matter known to exist in the universe. The human cerebral cortex contains more connections per cubic centimeter than any form of matter known to exist in this cosmos. If that's true, suddenly our marginality is completely obviated, and it's clear that no, we are not marginal observers of a vast cosmic drama. We are at the cutting edge of the development and conservation of complexity, and it is our mind which gives us these scenarios of our position in space and time. It may well be that the human mind is very, very important. The human mind represents the culmination of biology.
So this is all good. Everything he's saying is 100% spot on. But all of a sudden his mind flows right back into heliocentric drivel.
Which is another phenomenon that these astrophysicists always love to marginalize and say, oh, well, biology is going on one planet. As far as we know, it could be a fluke. It may have happened once and it'll never happen again. But, the life of most stars is on the order of 500 million years.
You know, the life of most stars is in the order of 500 million years. Oh, Terence, how do you know that? I thought you were just making fun of modern science and modern astronomy. And all of a sudden you go, oh, did you guys know that the fuck out of here, Terence. You don't trick me with your black magic, Terence.
It'll never happen again. But, you know, the life of most stars is on the order of 500 million years.
You know, the life of most stars is in the order of 500 million years. Oh, my Terence McKenna impression is spot on. You know, the life of most stars is in the order of 500 million years.
Never happen again. But, you know, the life of most stars is on the order of 500 million years.
You know, the life of most stars is on the order of 500 million years. Oh my God. Okay, Jan. Did you hear that from Jan Kander? Or did you hear that from Jesse Spots, who also got that from Jan? It's like, dude, what Jan and Jesse and apparently Kander don't know about is, do you know, do you know that he was speaking of the mushroom entity? Oh yeah, he likes to say that he was speaking. Oh God, he's speaking to the entities. If you don't speak, your entity is Jesus. Okay, I get it. You think that your entity is Jesus. You call your imaginary entity Jesus, and that's fine. You want to have fake conversations with fake Jesus, go ahead. Or if you're just deluding yourself and being delusional and you really do believe that you're talking to a thing or a being, supreme Christ consciousness, and you're calling him Yahweh or Jesus or Yeshua or Jeshua, Yahshua, whatever you want to call it. Reality, you know, you're just talking to different aspects of yourself, of your own power, of your own inner Christ. And you condemn and hate people who have experiences with these chemical compounds, and that then they can cross-reference with everyone else who's ever done the same exact thing, and it just so happens that you meet specific entities. And all of the greatest scientists that have ever lived, all of the greatest scientists that have ever lived have met these entities and talked with them. Some of them spent the rest of their lives talking about these entities and trying to revisit and re-meet and recreate that feeling that they once had. It's very strange. Yeah. Wow, that's sad. Stay away from people who actually go and do the work themselves. Stay away from people who actually go out and meet the... Do you know what it's like to be a part of the scene? To be behind the scenes? Or are you just sitting on the bench? You're not even on the bench. You're not even on the bench. You're not even in the sidelines. You're not even in the arena. You're not in the building. You're not in the city. You're not in the town. You're not in the same state. You're not in the same country. Where are you? Why does everyone feel so happy just contributing a little fucking bit? Is that what it's supposed to be? Some people are just supposed to contribute more? Some people just contribute more. Some people care more than other people. Everyone can't have the same amount of care. If you expect everyone in the world to have the same amount of care and passion that you have, if you have any, don't expect it from the rest of the world, because you'll lose your fucking marbles. Globe Earth comedians, Globe Earth scientists, just Globe Earth people in general are really fucking weird people. Really weird people. Liars, deceitful people. I mean, there's flat earthers that are liars, but they're usually the religious flat earthers. or the see, like, if you're just a flat earther because you just stumbled across some YouTube videos but you haven't done any field work, you haven't gone to any rivers or lakes, hiking on top of mountains, taking some levels on an airplane, taking weights, buying gyros. Now all these people are actually doing scientific experiments, buying P900s, filming buildings that should be well below the curvature of the earth from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake, 30 to 50 miles. It's good. It's good. That's good to see other people actually doing some work.
We happen to have the good fortune to be in orbit around a very slow burn.
See, we happen, I can't even, it's just so much space propaganda. Listen to this.
We happen to have the good fortune to be in orbit around a very slow burning stable star.
We happen to be in orbit around a very slow burning stable star. Yeah, what a coincidence, Terrence. You know, what a fucking coincidence, man.
And so we have ignored the fact that most stars last less than 500 million years.
Just shut the fuck up, Terrence. Oh. All that I know is that the flat earth is a shit show and it's going nowhere fast. The globe earth is a shit show and it's fucking up the world. The flat earth documentary is a fucking scam. I hope you can realize, don't fall for that shit or else you'll die. It's just so fucking pathetic. How can you fall for these scandals? Mark Sargent is the king. It's a good book, Kander. You got the fabled book about Laurel Canyon? What was it called? Yeah, this one. This book, dude. This book apparently has a lot of this. Jan Irving would love this book. I bet you Jan already read it. This Jesse outside the canyon. Laurel Canyon, Dark Heartbeat Dream. Yeah, I bet this talks about how they're all CIA assets. Aldous Huxley, Tim Leary, Terence McKenna, the Beatles, Jim Morrison. Let's see. Oh no. The first time I saw it, the fasting crowd really cared for them. Laurel Canyon in the 1960s and early 70s was a place to create much of the music that provided the soundtrack to those turbulent times. Members of bands like the Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, the Monkees, rest in peace, the Beach Boys, the Mamas and the Papas, the Turtles, the Eagles, the Flying Burrito Brothers, Frank Zappa, fellow honorary subgenius, and the Mothers of Invention, Steppenwolf, Captain Beefheart, CSN, Three Dog Night, Alice Cooper, The Doors, The Love with Arthur Lee, along with such singer-songwriters as Joni Mitchell, Judy Collins, James King, Judy Collins, James Taylor, Carole King, Jackson Brown, Judy Sill, and David Blue lived together and jammed together in the bucolic community nestled in the Hollywood Hills. But there was a dark side to that scene as well. Many didn't make it out alive, and many of those deaths remain shrouded in mystery to this day. Far more integrated into the scene than most would care to admit was a guy by the name of Charles Manson, along with his murderous entourage. Also floating about the periphery were various political operatives, up-and-coming politicians, and intelligence personnel, the same sort of people who just happened to give birth to many rock stars populating the canyon. And all of the canyon's and all of the canyon's colorful characters, rock stars, hippies, murderers, and politicos, happily coexisted alongside a covert military installation. Little MK Ultra. Weird scenes inside the canyon is a very strange but nonetheless true story of the dark underbelly of a hippie utopia. Yes, I am also quite well familiar with that as well, Candor. Ooh. Look at all this stuff. But I would have to review this again. I'm definitely going to get that book. That's for sure. Hey, what's up, Katie?
Okay, welcome back to the second hour of Far Out Radio. I'm Scott Tears, and today is Tuesday. It's July the 30th, 2013. Dave McGowan's with us this evening. He's the author of the very intriguing series of articles titled The Strange But Mostly True Story of Laurel Canyon.
First off, the Charles Manson murders are a complete and utter psyop hoax. Let that sink in. You should already know that.
Reporter for the hippie generation. Dave's making his second visit this evening here on Far Out Radio. He was with us back on March the 27th of this year, 2013, and we covered in that conversation the very beginnings of the Laurel Canyon scene, back when it was just a dusty, remote playground area for Hollywood's silent film stars and other unusual artist types such as Harry Houdini. And we talked all the way through the end of the 50s, through the 40s.
Hey, Math Powerland, how you doing lately? Actually, I talked to him earlier today for about a half hour. Him and I swap intel. Matter of fact, I was just watching him talk to himself. The clone version of himself, I mean.
Camera. I will email you. Okay. So, can I just hold the court here? I'll make the jokes. Thank you. I didn't do it. And so, I don't agree with the fact that you're doing this, playing a movie. My response is by a woman that copyright violated my appropriate.
Hold on, let it.
Likeness. It has nothing to do with it. I mean,
guys,
copyright violating a copyright violator. Correct. Both
get along.
Part of
yes.
The fucking globe circus, try to do damage control. As far as I'm concerned. Oh no, you're not. So you're on your. So I'm on your side. I'm on your side.
I'm on your side too.
Then you'll be the backup expedition in case they kill ours. For sure.
Absolutely.
Then your clone would come in handy. You know what I am pretty pleased about?
I'm Russell Brand's clone, so we're in the same boat here. Math 1 clone and clone B.
The actual moral, ethical compass carried over in the DNA. The strong gene. That I'm impressed with. So, as long as cloning can have a moral universe crossover of the original, I can't say I'm against it. Multiverse. But it all depends on how. What's your definition of a moral universe, right? Or multiverse. Multiverse. Touche. So, basically, I don't condone this. You're on your own accord, correct? And, I want to hear what you have to say, as if you were me, obviously. I hope you do your best.
Why? I wouldn't. See, us flat Earth comedians stick together, Math. The Globe Earth comedians are the ones that let each other die. Globe Earth comedians let each other die, just like they let Brody Stevens die of depression. Very, very sad. Unbelievable. Brilliant. What what's going on, Katie? I don't get it. It's very sad.
Give it your old college try. My old college try.
How's the audio?
And just so people know that I've been invited just to be part of the chat tonight, and then watch my clone dissect, take apart, analyze, and then spit out all this propaganda, which is what it is. So I just want to say thank you for releasing this video. I don't know how you got it. You are welcome. Oh, Sergeant, right? Sergeant, yeah, because Sergeant. Was that you playing Sergeant, or was that actually Sergeant?
No, Mark Sargent is the one that gave you permission to take down him. Oddly enough, Mark Sargent gave Powerland permission to take down Mark Sargent. Is that what you're about to say? What? Go ahead.
To me, and I sent you the email. Oh, it was actually Sergeant. So
what? Yeah.
So it was.
That's what I don't know. Okay, so they're just fucking listening to the light bulbs.
Yeah. So Sargent was the one who gave you permission to take down him, Sargent. So now, Russell Brand's clone, me, and you two clones have now been super reactivated to now team up as the leading flat Earth comedians and to take down the fake flat earthers and expose all of the globe Earth comedians as horrible murderers, liars, and of course actors and pseudoscientists.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, Edison. Fucking Tesla ripoff. So basically, yeah, I have nothing to do with this screening. I'm just an observer, again, an international observer on how Antarctica is pretty much blocked off from mass civilian crossing. With staged photo op, selected individuals who fake their crossing something. So, and this is all about, like, just discredit that Powerland Flat Earth, just, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna show. Oh, I know. The emails I sent you, right? The ones of Carolyn, yeah. Okay, you're gonna show the emails of Carolyn Clark. Yeah. She's trying to rope me in and get me to consent. Oh, it's fucking disgusting. Because I declined.
Oh, because yeah, she wanted your permission to have you on the documentary, the Behind the Curve Netflix documentary, but she wouldn't agree with the terms, and so she just completely bypassed you and put you onto the documentary, just like many other flat earthers. I mean, you're not actually that the nice woman Nicole Cote, or Nicole Cote, Nicole Cote. She was surprised to see herself on the documentary too, and they never asked her for permission. So it just seems like Mark Sargent, Patricia Steer, and the rest of those guys are taking it upon themselves to just add whoever they want in whatever way they want, in whatever fashion they want, and put them on to the documentary, and also not give them any credit or any money.
And this is completely a violation, not only of my likeness, but my wife's likeness, who's in the shot. Can you imagine if my little Atlas was in there? Oh my God, right? And there's no fucking way you're cloning him. There's no way you're cloning him. Well, there is no way. We got that boy on lockdown. So you are not getting the goods, family jewels, the family jewels. Right? Oh, yeah. And I'm not talking about these jewels that are in the Adam and Eve painting. And don't do the Adam and Eve painting, please. Oh, come on, man. I do. Mine's longer. Somebody just repeating everything like everybody else. And it's like, and then I got to get into a fucking copyright suit with my clone, who's really not doing any damage to the flat Earth. He's just repeating what I'm saying. But I want credit. So, but tonight, me and my clone, right? Not Powerland number 2? Number 2. Is that what you're going by? I'm going by 2. So we are going to not collaborate, but I'm going to observe him screening and commenting on Behind the Curve. So thank you for releasing this footage for free. from an actual copyright violator in my work. That have nothing to do with this trap they tried to set up on the NASA channel by having me air it on the NASA channel. So I'm leaving it to our clone, this clone channel. Leave it to me, Powerline studio of me. And thank you, Matt Powerline number 2. You're welcome. RX.
Thanks, guys.
Z238. Is that it?
So yeah, there you go.
Thanks. Straight from the clone's mouth. Yeah, what do you know? Katie knows. Katie says, I talked to Coach. She said she wants to seek legal action, as does Dell. My cousin is a lawyer here, so we need support for a class action. Exactly. Oh, man. What do you got? Anything before I get out of here? Hold on, let me see this. Hey, I'll if anyone want to join give your email if you want to join. I mean, man, I haven't been drinking. I've been very, very sober.
I was indoctrinated, and so the world wasn't always flat to me. What I do is I've always done high-end microwave engineering. And so I go from point A to point B, and I set up a microwave link, and I go distances, 200 miles. It's on a 200-mile link. We never account for curvature of the Earth. It's very important to know that you have to have a straight line of sight. Not only do you have to have the line of sight, there's a spot where the wave has to go up and down at. Like, it's called the Fresnel zone. I've done all the specs. I've done all the GPSing on this stuff. I've been on these mountain tops. I've done all this. So I've seen firsthand that everything is flat. Is on a 200-mile link. We never account for curvature of the Earth. Can you imagine that? If I had to account over 200 miles of curvature, the Fresnel zone would be terrible because there would be a giant hump in the middle of every wireless link that you ever do. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. So I want to give you my 2 cents on why I believe that the Earth is flat. Now, obviously, I was indoctrinated, and so the world wasn't always flat to me. I believe we were going, what, 66,600 miles around the sun. Like, we're blowing 666 around the sun. And, we grew up. I remember the Challenger explosion. I remember a little kid, I was just in like second or third grade. The Challenger blew up, and we were all devastated. We were little kids. We didn't really get it, but I mean, it was crazy, right? It was just a huge thing for the Challenger to blow up and for us to have that problem with things. Now, I am about 41 years old. I am 41. And my perspective has completely changed. And a lot of things I have to account for throughout my life of leading what I do is I've always done high-end microwave engineering. And so I go from point A to point B, and I set up a microwave link, and I go distances, 200 miles or so. There's always longer shots, and there's always shorter shots, but I mean, that's what I did is I went from mountaintop to mountaintop. And it's very important to know that you have to have a straight line of sight. Not only do you have to have the line of sight, there's a spot where the wave has to go up and down at. Like, it's called the Fresnel zone. And everyone will call it, it spells like Fresnel zone, but it's Fresnel. It's named after the guy that actually came up with it. But as a wave travels, depending on the frequency, it goes up and down, and it has to complete that up and down section, right? And so here's what I got to thinking about, is on a 200-mile link, we never account for curvature of the Earth. Can you imagine that? If I had to account over 200 miles of curvature, the threshold zone would be terrible because there would be a giant hump in the middle of every wireless link that you ever do. That would be the main thing you would always have to account for is curvature of the Earth. There's absolutely no doubt that you don't account for that because everything's flat. The entire regions are flat, mountaintop to mountaintop. And I've been to the top of mountaintops and been on a 180-foot tower on top of that mountain. It's all flat. You can see for as far as you can see, but it's flat. And I've done all the specs. I've done all the GPSing on this stuff. I've been on these mountaintops. I've done all this. So I've seen firsthand that everything is flat. You don't account for curvature. So I'm going to put a little video with this that kind of explains what I was just explaining to you guys. But the wave has to complete up and down. If you have that giant hump in the middle, no wireless across the entire world would ever work. It would be weird. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you guys are good. I am out. And we'll see you no curvature
over the strip. I don't know who that is actually. That is a microwave engineer. You seen this moon atmosphere thing? What do you mean, Eric? I've seen there's a halo around the moon. The moon is self-luminescent, translucent luminary. And I can see it giving off its own light in a complete 360 circle. And I can see the light illuminating off of the moon, being generated by the moon itself and creating a rainbow halo or 360 degrees around the moon, which is, of course, impossible on a ball. Yeah, I know, Candor. Yeah, Candor, this is after scientists, this is after I issued my $10,000 challenge, Candor. I issued my $10,000 challenge for video footage of inside of a rocket going through the Van Allen radiation belts. All I need is video footage of a rocket ship going through the Van Allen radiation belts, and I'll give you $10,000. Unfortunately, within a couple of days, now suddenly the moon is inside the Earth's atmosphere. After I issued my $10,000 challenge, which directly calls out exactly what they just fixed in their mainstream news. Oh, now, breaking news. The moon is actually in the Earth's atmosphere, meaning that the Van Allen radiation belts are in the Earth's atmosphere as well. So, it's too fucking funny. Oh, man. It's so easy. Oh, dude. So I don't know. What do you got on your mind? I got a lot on my mind. I have a million videos I need to do. I have so many videos. Is it tortoise? Tortoise. Tortoise? Tortoise? Is that how you spell it? Looks weird. Yeah, all the textbooks have to be thrown out, that's for sure. Oh. Let's go check out Discord real quick. I want to stop sharing. Should I stop sharing? Let's go to Discord real quick. In the spirit of the original Flat Earth controlled opposition group, the Flat Earth Society, comes a new mockumentary starring the infamous Flat Earth shills Mark Sargent and Patricia Steere. Mark, a proud member of the farcical Flat Earth Society, has been making a mockery of the Flat Earth subject for 3 years now, by assuming a totally undeserved role as so-called king of Flat Earth and getting massive mainstream media attention, where he proceeds to spout disinformation, such as claiming the moon and stars are actually projected onto the sky by a mysterious Earth-based projector system, and other similar nonsense exposed in depth here. Now, in a full-length feature released this week, Mark and Patricia are taking their unique brand of controlled opposition mockery to new heights on the silver screen, where millions of new people will be introduced to the worst examples of flat earthers, quote-unquote, on the flat earth. What's up, Dave Hinkle? Oh, you like my background? That's a good luck symbol. The Anta Karana. Stellarium. Alright, so...
The original map Powerland has nothing to do with this. This is completely his clone in his clone studio that will be releasing the entire film Behind the Curve tonight after they suspended 2 channels like I knew they would. Just for saying that I was going to release it. You know, you could have a channel that has a live stream announced with a title that says, hey, you know, Men in Black, free screening, or whatever movie's out in theaters, and it's not going to be screened, but it just says that, and then you talk about it. I mean, I've seen clickbait before, like racist clickbait. I've seen blackface on YouTube.
Oh, what is this shit? YouTube movies documentary from $3.99. These fuckers are trying to get me to pay. Wait a minute. You think I can't watch this movie? Watch. I'll show you guys how to get this movie for free. Try to make me fucking pay money to watch this piece of shit.
First time I ever heard about flat earthers was, I think, when I was in space last. I can't believe I'm talking about this. I was well versed in just about every conspiracy.
Chemtrails, 9/11.
You know they made up.
Oh god, look at these fucking worms. Oh, look at you. I can't even watch it. I can't. Are you kidding me?
Dinosaurs.
I completely solved the JFK assassination.
But when you get bored of normal conspiracies, you're looking for something new.
And then Mark said that he was a member of the Flat Earth Society. And I said, oh, Mark, what are you on to now?
This.
Oh.
This is what it is. Excuse me, anyone ever told you the Earth is flat? I caught his smile. He wasn't buying it. Nobody wants to admit that they've been fooled. That's happened to every one of us. If you look on Google Trends, it's like there's now flat Earth dating sites. I mean, we've got songs.
Dude, come on. Oh, god damn it, Mark. You're like a little kid. Oh, Mark.
Why is it expanding the way it is?
Get online, you'll see so-called evidence that seems scientific, and you go, huh, maybe they're onto something there.
Science is having a problem combating what we're doing because they don't know how to address it.
I want to believe this. This doesn't mesh with reality, so don't change my view, change reality.
Now we're doing international conflict.
that they believe all this is really happening. There's no privilege. And if we can do that, it's game over. Then we get to the point where it's set.
For fuck's sake, you think I'm gonna pay $4 to see that shit? Watch, I'll go find it for you right now. Look at it. Behind the curve. Behind the curve. Full documentary. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Ding. Gotta wait up for my computer to load. Watch. How long it takes. Wait, behind the curve. Look at Math made that video. Behind the curve, War on Imagination, Part 1. And that was 2018. All right, so I gotta find this though. I'm not fucking. $4 to watch this shitty ass movie. Oh shit. Well, it's got a good crew behind censoring. I'm glad you really can't watch it for free. They're really gonna make people pay for it. $2018? Did it come out in 2000? I thought it came out. Huh. That's weird. It says release date 30th of April 2018. Well, that's a bit strange. So they've been working on it since then, at least. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Oh, the Subgenius documentary will be much better. Should be coming out soon. Praise Bob. Yeah, that's interesting, Katie. Says release date 30th of April 2018. They've been working on it for a long time. Yeah, send it to me, Peanuts Clark. Thanks, dude. I was just trying to find it for free, but that's the whole point. So send it to me, and I get exactly what I wanted. Yeah, they did, Dave. Yes, indeed, they did. What about 2 electric winches on each side of a body of water that is near open ocean, pulling 10 miles of cable tight and level? Rovers could stick refraction all the way up their bungholes. 2 electric. Oh, 10 miles of cable, I see. So there should be should be able to see the curvature of the Earth missing in the wires on each side of the wires based on the curvature, supposed curvature, the alleged curvature. Dave has thought up an experiment. It's a good experiment. 10 miles of cable. It's going to be a lot of fucking cable, but that'd be a damn good experiment. But Katie, yeah, I mean, you saw that, Katie. I really don't. I mean, I think everyone they were talking about it for a while, and that's how I knew that. I mean, we all knew that they're just going to make a fool out of them all. Same thing, like I said, when Logan Paul came into the flat Earth. I was making fun of Logan Paul a year before anyone knew who he was in the flat Earth, and I was making flat Earth Logan Paul jokes, saying Logan Paul is a fake flat earther a year before he came into the flat Earth conversation. You got to stay on top of the sub genius. He knows the prophet flat Earth guru Swami Denanda. I can't say that without laughing. Let's see here. A post on Reddit calls a Netflix documentary a sympathetic but clear-eyed look. At least 30-foot hump in the water in the middle, right? Yeah, I mean, there would be at least 30 feet. At least. Right? 33 feet? Shout out to myself, I'm 33 years old. Skip Knot says a tight wire between 2 point will never work. Why not? Does anyone know if Dell aired Curve and got copyright strike, or is there a mirror? On the phone, Math is asking. I'll go check. Thanks, Eric. Oh, I got the same amount of videos as Dell does. We each have 354 videos. Very cool. Yeah, here it is.
In suspense, as you say, we're all
all the people all in suspense. Something seen any other shit. So where are you right now? Same sort of goal, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That globe spinning around the sun at 60,000 plus miles an hour. That solar system is flying sideways through the galaxy 500,000 miles an hour, and that galaxy is going through the rest of the universe at the possible.
So, I mean, I think everybody understands that so many, you know, how should I say, contradictions in the heliocentric model. You know, they talk about the closed orbit of, you know, for example, the Earth around the Sun, but if you look at that animation, then it's an open helix is the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. So, but yeah, I don't want to get into this into any detail, but
we can suspend the camera each time talk, you know, we don't want to have bullshit, fucking gas balls and vacuums and all that rubbish.
Right.
Alright. Fuck. You know what? What I want to see? I actually want to see this. Jesse spots. Jim.
Okay. Man, I've had the most technical difficulties trying to see the show. That's this one, but I'm really thrilled to have Ron Burton with us on the show today. So none of the bells and whistles. This is straight up Google Hangout. And the way that I sold Ron on this is I said I want him to guest host. That I wanted to have very little talking and just let him go and tell us what's been going on in this world. So first of all, I want to welcome Ron. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Well, I imagine you've had a pretty eventful week or two since the 21st, January 23rd, INFOWARS broadcasting.
Yeah, both.
What the fuck's going on with your fucking audio there? Let's see how fucked up this dude's mind is.
21st and 23rd, yeah. It's been rather interesting to say the least. And, you know, it's supposed to be switching between our windows automatically, and it's not. So I'll just try to remember to switch us when we're talking. If somebody mentions it, I'll remember to hit the button.
Yeah, we're currently multi-streaming on this channel and this one.
They're saying no volume on my side here. Hold on a second. What did I do wrong here? Oh, good grief. Don't tell me. Testing 1, 2. Why am I not broadcasting audio on this side? What the heck?
How's my audio? Oh,
on my side, yeah. They're saying there's no audio.
And just about everything.
Well, you know, so I don't know. You know, I've never used Google Hangout, so I don't know why mine is not broadcast.
Can I say yes? My voice is good.
My voice or your voice? And so it's been off for, what, 3 weeks now. And so, yeah, somebody right now just decides to start texting me.
So what was YouTube's reason? Was it just the overall?
Oh, they just said now you're hotter. What, you just changed your sound? So whatever, all they said was that I violated community standards. Apparently, you know, telling kids not to do psychedelic drugs violates community standards for YouTube, Google, or for YouTube, Google now / INQTEL CIA. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so and then
already anti-psychedelic. That only took 5 minutes to spout anti-psychedelic talk.
With that, I did not watch your broadcast on the 23rd. Did you guys just go over that?
We did, yeah. We just, it was like a 10, 16-minute interview, something like that, where we just covered how I was banned, you know, from for my live. I wasn't banned technically. My live stream was shut down. So, you know, it was link. People are asking me what's Jesse's channel name. Its link is above.
So okay, so and then as soon as Alex decided to have you on, because I've had my neck deep in this culture, just me in the YouTube culture for a couple of years, knowing that I could never gain any traction when I talk about the subject, I knew that it was going to be a hot button, and I started paying attention to it. And sure enough, there's alternative media outlets that are playing games with you right now, or they're at least pretending like you're dead and pretending like you don't exist.
Avoid mentioning my name at all costs on any of the shows, on any of the stuff that's going on. That's, you know, and that's what's most interesting. They'll talk about my research, but they don't dare mention my name. They talk around it.
They attributed to Alex Jones, and he's going crazy. That's what I've heard so far.
Yeah, they're saying your volume is still low. If you can up your OBS volume at all, I don't know.
We're not doing OBS anymore.
Oh, we're not?
I have this jacked up all the way.
And, all right, well, is there in Google, is there a way to, what's currently not? I'm
like
looking in.
It's like this cord is like dying is what's happening.
Maybe whatever you just did kind of helped it, but.
I got an idea.
On your side. So sorry, folks, you know, we're having all these tech
spots. JESSESPOTS. The suffocation like I think by talking about these tactics, it corners them a little bit because they know they're fair game. They know that anybody who sticks their head out to try something. Alex is a big swinger, so Alex could easily target them. I can target them. You can target them. When we get together in particular, that's even more risky. So that's really the purpose of this broadcast, in my opinion. So bad audio or not, I don't like, from my point of view, don't expect me to give anybody like an amazing presentation. What I want from Jan is an update on the historical significance, the fact that Alex Jones chose to carry this message, the fact that he committed to it, the fact that he saw Silicon Valley react, and now people have to. There's like a call to action, like on people's shoulders now. Are they going to carry forward this message in their local newsletters, on their YouTube channel? One thing I'd like my moderators to do is to post links to your current channel, which is Logos Media 2, I believe, right?
Correct. You know, yeah, Logos Media. Well, and I'll try to upload this show together. Your moderator is saying that the audio is too bad on their end, so they're just gonna call it a night. But you know, try to stick it out, folks, and we will you know, try to adjust the audio or something, and I'll re-upload it tomorrow to both of my channels and see if we can at least get something working. I don't know why my audio is refusing to broadcast. The 50, 60, 65 professors working on a major book project, and during the book project, I began realizing that something was askew. And you know, when I published the article on Gordon Wasson, I didn't get the memo that they were all CIA, and I wasn't supposed to tell the truth. So when I published the article, you know, everybody came out attacking me, and it was just, you know, it was this crazy, you know, a whole group of professors and scholars and whatnot suddenly couldn't read citations. You know, Princeton, Yale, Harvard, Columbia, Dartmouth, Stanford. You know, these are letters that I pulled out of their own archives, and not one of them could deal with the citations. And they all of a sudden, all of them reverted to ad hominem attacks, appeals to ridicule and whatnot, creating straw mans of my research and whatnot. And you know, the whole thing just went sideways. It was just one of those what the heck moments. I'm going to try to reboot my OBS software on my channel and see if I can get people to broadcast over there too. Sorry about that. I'm just going to do that really quickly and see if I can do that quick enough to get things rolling again for them over there. But so you know, I posted this this article in 2012 on my website called Gordon Wasson, the Man, the Legend, the Myth, and just all hell broke loose. And you know, I never expected anything like that could happen. And
so he's the granddaddy, or you just cut straight to the middle of it. You weren't playing the game on the surface level.
Well, yeah, I was never, you know, in the club. I thought I was supposed to be doing legitimate ethnobotany research, and in 2008, I published a book called The Holy Mushroom: Evidence of Mushrooms in Judeo-Christianity, and I was just checking all of the citations and everything. And this was obviously before I became a Christian, and realized that, you know, that while I was writing that book, that Gordon Wasson was CIA. I figured it out in 2007. It took me about 4 years after that to.
Yeah. He just suddenly he's just CIA. That's how you figured it out.
Botany research, and in 2008, I published a book called The Holy Mushroom: Evidence of Mushrooms in Judeo-Christianity, and I was just checking all of the citations and everything. And this was obviously before I became a Christian, and realized that, you know, that while I was writing that book, that Gordon Wasson was CIA. I figured it out in 2007. It took me.
Oh, and just in 2007, you just suddenly figured it out. You're CIA. I just suddenly figured it out. Jan Irving, you're CIA. I just suddenly figured it out in 2019. Jan Irving is CIA.
about 4 years after that to be able to prove that he was CIA, you know. And so then in 2011, I really started getting my hands on the evidence. I was Harvard wouldn't let me into the ethnobotany library, the Harvard Botanical Museum there, and to go through Watson's archives. So then I realized I could reverse engineer the names of the people that he was working with, and I could go to their archives instead of the Harvard archives, and I could just go one at a time through each of these people's archives. And so I started doing that, and then I was able to amass, you know, probably a couple thousand pages worth of stuff that way. And so then, you know, that's when I hit the big jackpot. So while Harvard tried to block me out, their program didn't work as they wanted it to, and so I was able to figure it out and get material.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong, but also part of the disclosure you gave to Alex was that you had been approached for the same agenda. And
well, you know, what's interesting is not directly, but you know, like in 2008, for instance, I was flown up to Canada to be a part of a documentary film, and the documentary never came out, and it was with some people associated with Tragedy and Hope, interestingly enough. And we went out to dinner at this Chinese restaurant one night, and they asked me what I felt about lying to people. That was the whole conversation at dinner time. And this guy and his brother were there, and the brother was like, "Oh, I don't have any problem lying to people," and "Oh, I'd lie to my mother," and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, "This is a really strange conversation." And then, you know, the next morning, let's see. Oh, they're saying they can hear us both on the audios apparently now. Let's see, the channel on this channel you can hear Jan now if that helps. The other channel they can hear us both. So I'm just going to stick on your channel. But so then the next morning I was dropped off at the airport, and as I'm standing on the curb at the airport, the guy's got the window down. And he says, "Oh, by the way, that was a job interview last night, but you didn't get the job." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he drives off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you know, so I was just like, you know, what in the world? And, you know, there was only, you know, I'm sitting there, the whole conversation was about what I felt about lying, you know, and then, you know, there was other attempts at approaching me after that. That's the main one that really sticks out at me. But there was several others.
That sounds exactly how, I mean, like without having any point of reference, that's not the scene you'd see in a movie. But that sounds about right for what these lying rats would do. Is they're just sitting on top of secrets, and they don't want to let in somebody who's not loyal. They don't want to let in somebody who's not a sociopath. So, oh yeah, lying. What do you think about lying?
Well, you know, Jan Irvin can't be corrupted. So, you know, and then when I got a hold of the Trivium, you know, that's, you know, I just started focusing on truth all the time, and I started exposing everything, and that eventually led me into, you know, Christianity and realizing that it was all about living in truth and whatnot. But
okay, we'll see about that, buddy.
You know, one thing, and I've been planning on doing a short video of this all week, and I just haven't gotten to it, so I might as well go into this right now. And then I'll probably do another show on this, because people need to understand how this works when you get into podcasting. When you start your show, okay, the first realization that you have is like, you know, people start sending you all kinds of information. You're like, okay, this is why they place, you know, CIA people as editors in newspapers and stuff, because every day information from all over the world flows in. It's like, oh wait, that's intel gathering, and they're just, I don't even usually need to read the newspapers and stuff every morning. It's like just there in my email box, and people will send it to me, information that I need, and then I'll broadcast or put it, you know, or relay the most important stuff. And so that.
Oh, you mean like what I'm doing right now? Oh, okay. Thanks, Jan.
That's one stage, and then the next stage that you realize is, okay, excuse me, whenever I broadcast something that isn't correct that they want me to say, suddenly a large donation will come in. And then let's say I publish an article on Gordon Wasson, and then the donations dry up. And then I'll put something else out, and I would, you know, this is back in the day when I first started my show. And then let's say I would interview Dave Nichols, who's, you know, the last legal producer of LSD in the United States. And then the donations would grow and come in again. And then I put out something exposing Terence McKenna, and they would dry up. And so you know, you do this for a while, and you start realizing the game. So the people who are on the tape.
Notice how he tries to breeze over. I put out something exposing Terence McKenna. Yeah, something. You put out an opinion.
You realize after a while, you know, and again, I've been doing this for over a decade, you realize, okay, whenever you say what they want, pro-drugs, pro-New World Order, pro-feminism, pro-eugenics, pro-attack on the family, pro-anything against white people, pro-anything against men, against Christianity, the money goes up and up and up, and you get more and more and more and more popular. Anything that tells the truth, if you go on a podcast and say, you know, the God of Christianity is truth, or truth is God, and, you know, et cetera, and it's all about living a truthful, righteous life, you know, they could go down. And you know, so you start piecing this together after a while, and it's like, okay, so, you know, when I go out and I say, look, everybody in podcasting or everybody in psychedelics is dirty, and there might be 2 or 3 out there that aren't dirty, but I really mean like everybody is dirty, you know. And after a while, you get a hold of this, and they're
okay. Then you're a fucking idiot, and you're a complete and utter retard if you really believe that. If you have a podcast, that means that you're a bad, evil person. You're dirty. Jesse, you're on Jesse's podcast. So does that mean Jesse's dirty? He's an evil person?
While, and you start realizing the game. So the people who are on the take, you realize after a while, you know, and again, I've been doing this for over a decade. You realize, okay, when
Yeah, I've been doing this for over a decade too. Cool. This dude in my chat room just heard of me recently, and now he's hearing of you through me, and he's never heard of you before.
whenever you say what they want, pro-drugs, pro-New World Order, pro-feminism, pro-eugenics, pro-attack on the family, pro-anything against white people, pro-anything against men, against Christianity, the money goes up and up and up, and you get more and more and more and more popular. Anything that tells the truth, if you go on a podcast and say, you know, the God of Christianity is truth, or truth is God, and, you know, et cetera, and it's all about living a truthful, righteous life, you know, they could go down. And you know, so you start piecing this together after a while, and it's like, okay, so...
No, that's not true at all. If you talk about Christianity and Jesus, it goes up and up and up. You're totally full of fucking shit already. You're already fucking in reverse mode, double speak mode. Jesse Spots himself is a Christian, and his view has been going up and up and up. So you just said it goes down and down and down.
While, and you start realizing the game. So the people who are on the take, pro-attack on the family, pro-anything against white people, pro-anything against men, against Christianity, the money goes up and up and up, and you get more and more and more and more popular. Anything that tells...
What are you talking about? I'm against Christianity, and I'm not popular at all, and I don't get money at all. Like, are you fucking insane? I don't get any money in popularity, and I make fun of fucking Christianity all the time. Jesse Spots himself as a fucking self-proclaimed Christian. I'm not gonna make fun of him for fucking being Christian, but I say praise Bob. He says praise Jesus. Do I have a problem with him because he says praise Jesus and I say praise Bob? No. Does he have a problem with me because I say praise Bob and praise Jesus instead of praise Jesus? Probably.
The truth. If you go on a podcast and say, you know, the God of Christianity is truth, or truth is God, and, you know, et cetera, and it's all about living a truthful, righteous life, you know, they could go down. And you know, so you start piecing this together after a while, and it's like, okay, so, you know, when I go out and I say, look, everybody in podcasting or everybody in psychedelics is dirty, and there might be 2 or 3 out there that are dirty, but I really...
Everybody in podcasts and everybody in psychedelics is dirty. Dude. Jesus Christ, man.
I mean, like, everybody is dirty, you know. And after a while, you get a hold of this, and there are.
We certainly would turn a blind eye. I mean, like, right. If they're part of a lifestyle and they make friends based on that lifestyle, it would really take something to disrupt that lifestyle to make them change.
So
turn somebody in.
Then you either pick truth, or you turn a blind eye, which is...
Dude, I'm 33 years old, and I've done mushrooms once in the past 5 years. Like, does that sound like someone who's abusing a drug? I've done DMT and mushrooms once in the past 5 years. Each. Once. The past 5 years. Does that sound like a drug abuser? Like, just because you're too afraid to do these things yourself, Jan and Jesse, just because you're too afraid to take 5 grams, 5 dried grams of psilocybin on an empty stomach in silent darkness, just because you're too afraid to do that doesn't make me a dirty person. Makes you a fearful paranoid. You sound like a really fear-filled, like, conspiratorial, paranoid person when you say all psychedelic people and all podcast people are dirty people. Like Jan Irving. There's a reason why only a few people pay attention to you. I'm interested in what you're gonna say about Essalon. And you just so happen to be on Jesse's show, and Jesse's interested in hearing what I have to say about Essalon. And I'm gonna tell my Essalon Part 2 story soon. And it might even be on Jesse's podcast. I'll do it first, maybe, and then go on his show, or I don't know. Who fucking knows? But let's listen to what I'm 23 minutes into this. Praise Bob. And I want to hear what Jan has to say about Terrence again. When the first time I heard, matter of fact, I heard Jan Irving talk about Terrence in early 2012-ish, and then I went to Esalen Institute myself to go. I go into Hunter S. Thompson mode to go investigate these areas myself. Just so happens that Hunter S. Thompson was a gatekeeper in the 60s for Esalen. It's very interesting. But yeah, I'm going to keep listening.
The gray area, or you're on the tape. You know, and so this goes on after a while, and when you've been in it long enough, you can honestly say just about everybody in podcasting is dirty. Now, my personal belief, having started in the last decade, I started my show in 2008. My personal belief is that I am the last podcaster from last decade who did not sell out. So, you know, and, you know, they've tried to recruit me 6 or 7 times that I'm aware of. Some of them were pretty direct. And, you know, some of them had veiled threats behind them and, you know, this kind of stuff. But this is how the system works. And, so, it's like people like Joe Rogan saying, I don't have time to, take on another job and be a CIA agent or whatever. That's not how it works. All you have to do is go out and say pro-pot, pro-drugs, pro-liberalism, anti-guns, anti-white, anti-Christianity, yada, 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 and do the stuff that you normally do. That's all it takes. That's literally all it takes. And you're doing, what they want. Somebody's asking about my former partner, and that's exactly the case. That's why I booted him off the show almost 2 years ago. Because I figured out that that's what was going on, and that he was running trolls against me, teams of trolls, and him and another guy that was actually in your chat when you were doing the live discussion about my Alex Jones interview. He was in your chat, and he's one of the guys who's a pseudo billionaire, and he's actually taken the time to troll me for the last couple of years. I'm not even gonna bother saying his name. Most people can figure it out, but it's like these people. Talk about lifetime actors. One of them created that term. But these people go out there and they troll you and run teams of trolls, and they're selling the agenda. And then what they do is they'll say, oh, what happened to all of your friends? Oh, what happened to this person? Well, what they do is the best guests on your show, they go through them and they try to recruit them. And so then you realize, hey, wait a second. Suddenly this person stops talking to me for several months or a year and then shows back up, and that person stops talking to me, and we're just having a conversation one day and everything's good. And then all of a sudden, poof, they disappear. Or you figure out somebody, you start going through somebody's citations and working, you go, wait a second, this doesn't check out. And so when you realize these things, you go, oh, I see, they flip sides. But they'll go through, just real quick, they'll go through your guests, and they will recruit the best people that you've had on. And then when you come out saying that that person has gone dirty, they say, oh, Jan Irvin thinks everybody is dirty. I mean, we know who's flipped. And the issue is, and one of them even told me this, oh, well, you can always tell if somebody's dirty or straight because of consistency of behavior. And if their behavior is suddenly not consistent anymore, they've switched teams. And then, a year later, that guy, suddenly his behavior totally went haywire. And it was like, oh, are you kidding me? The same guy who told me that. Go ahead.
Well, your willpower comes across like on your Facebook or on Twitter.
See, I see one of them in there right now trying to post garbage up about. He's trying to do damage control on himself right now in the chat.
Have you ever heard of the Cartman drama triangle? Has that ever come up in your life? It's victim, rescuer, and persecutor. It's just the way that people deal with what do you call them? Dysfunctional families. These like the tactics that you're talking about, because these people are persecuting you, they have to put on any image besides persecutor, so they're always rotating between the other two. They're always playing the victim or the rescuer, because the last thing that they can put on is an image of persecution. So it's always that they're being persecuted, even though they're on your platform or on your Twitter, or they're rescuing you, and they do something called concern trolling. They have them emails telling you,
it's gaslighting.
Oh, I worry about you. And luckily, there have been some broadcasters who've made that public knowledge now, where most people are educated up on it. And
yeah, you should ban Crypto Beast right now on your chat there.
I haven't even looked at the chat.
But
I'm not naming names. All I'm saying, typically, what I like to do in my chat is just let people expose themselves. But I know what you're saying as far as tactics and what.
But asking for evidence is not damage control. It's part of research. It's like when they lie and go through the hate group and have to post up every single thing that they already know is false, and then pretend that they're not trolling and not funding this kind of stuff and not running teams. It's like can the crap. We see you. You're busted. You're done. Get out of here. Seriously, take off. It's like find some more friends. Seriously, go take off.
So on Alex Jones, he presented something like a flowchart, like he presented basically like a working model for how people can view the overall network, these podcast networks. Has there been any change, like since you started compiling this information? Has there been any change in that overall structure? Is it fluid, or is it pretty much proven itself?
It's pretty well proven itself. I mean, somebody's saying one of us is muted. I don't know. Neither of us should be muted now. Oh, look, see, now they're saying, oh, banning people. Wow. Oh, my God. You know, it's like, yeah, trolls get banned for trolling. Grow up, people. Seriously, grow up.
Well, just let the irony of me saying they typically play the victim or the rescuer, and then they can never play the persecutor, because that's truly what they're doing. Is they're persecuting you and they're sugarcoating, and they can't let the other people who are under mind control know. My chat, though, is a very discerning group of people, intelligent people, so don't worry about it, because there's a number of people who are discerning and they're learning something from this. So I would just say, don't even pay attention to it. Let's focus on the information. And furthermore, like, I've never spoken to Alex. I'm dying to one day speak to Alex. I've tried to Skype with Rob in the past. I just got so excited when I saw that he had you on. And I think the first time he actually kind of played cat and mouse with you, and he just didn't even fear that. He got on the phone first. Has he shown an interest in having you back on? Has he shown awareness of what's been happening to you and you've been silenced?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about AJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's shown some interest in having me back on. Not sure when that will happen. I don't, people on my channel need to go to Jesse Spots. It's been linked over there like 20 times, sorry. But, yeah, I mean, he's shown some interest in going into more depth on this. Let's hope it happens soon. I can only post the link so many times. But, maybe I'll just shut off my feed because people just aren't figuring it out that we're over here on the other channel. But they were saying that I was working for a little bit, my audio. I don't know why they're not.
I don't know a lot about multi-streaming, and my original intention was to do my typical OBS with Google Hangouts in the corner, and then that fell through. So already I'm off my game. What we'll do is we'll make a commitment to do more of these, but I think it's going to be the information in our relationship that carries us through. And if we focus on the chat, we're going to lose the shit. I'm going to read this quote that I sent you. This is an actual quote with when Joe Rogan was talking to Brian Redband. And by the way, Redband is the one who set up all those different podcasts for the Guest Squad. Like, he's the guy who, like, Joe didn't know anything about podcasting. Redband set up, the podcast and did all the video stuff and all the behind the scenes stuff. But they were together, and Joe was high off his ass. And he said this about Alex Jones. And this is what I sent you in the email regarding Alex Jones. You are making up the fact that I'm in the CIA. You are making up that Hollywood insiders have given me information and tell me what to say. That's not true. You know it's not true. You know me. I don't have time to be a CIA insider. I can't take on another job in between doing stand-up and podcast and UFC commentator and running a family. I can't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'm not interested. I would rather stop doing everything than work for a government organization. No one has ever approached me. No one has ever approached anyone I've ever heard of. I don't really know if that really happens. I don't know if that's a real thing. The thing is, they always say, is the CIA would talk to the people in Hollywood and tell them what to say in terms of propaganda. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have any personal knowledge of it. I'm sure someone has decided that if they are going to make a movie about, like, Zero Dark 30, that they have to get some sort of approval. And I'm sure that a lot of movies that are very inspirational that have to do with the military would be great for recruitment. So I'm sure there's some involvement. I'm sure there's also some patriots that work in show business that want to put out these movies about the government and the military in a very positive way. That's probably the case in some instances too, but not everything is a fucking conspiracy. This is where his bitterness starts coming up. And this is why it's stupid.
Well, you got to use that loaded terminology, conspiracy, to automatically make people who see it going on look crazy.
So what do you, I mean, in general, I mean, so Joe, it's plausible deniability. He's saying that I'm not in the CIA. Nobody I've ever heard of has ever been approached by the CIA. But of course, that doesn't cover for any other government organization. And it's not like he couldn't just be lying off his ass. There's also, isn't it like true that under Obama, the propaganda was basically legalized on the public? So
yeah, exactly. And you got to realize that the job of the Central Intelligence Agency is to control the intelligence for what people think. It's to control the intelligence of the public mind. Okay, and they are the central intelligence, so they want to control what people think. And part of their agenda is to put out propaganda. And one of their shields is the CIA's charter that says they're not supposed to operate in the United States. But that's mostly what they do. That's just a smokescreen. See, look. They'll wave the charter around, and we don't operate in the United States. But meanwhile,
I wonder if Jesse asked Deanna if Alex Jones is really Bill Hicks. You're talking to him for 2 hours, and you don't bring that up. It's one of your favorite conspiracies, Jesse. You're not going to bring that up. I hope you bring it up.
Opinion, most tenured professors are on the CIA's payroll. They clearly pay them grants and stuff like that, which is a violation of the charter. But not only that, I've even had professors write hit piece books against me.
There's no way we went to the moon. There's no way.
In my research, like on Gordon Wasson and on my second book, and this guy, Professor Jerry Brown, not to be confused with the liberal nutter former governor, but total distortion of my work and total hit piece and spin of my work. And then you have them controlling podcasting, funding the movies. Here's another thing: is when you see all of the media suddenly out all at once promoting transgender or promoting veganism or promoting homosexuality, or every movie, every TV show has a homosexual main character, etc. This isn't, this isn't just coincidence. This is intentional social relations. This is done operationally, and you'll see, like, in 1 or 2 months, every magazine in the newsstand will have these themes in it. This is what they are operating on behind the scenes, and this is what they want to, these are the messages that they want to put out to control and normalize the public mind.
Let's see, Existentialist has our back. He says, from Wikipedia, Robert Gordon Wasson was American author, ethnomycologist, and vice president for public relations at J.P. Morgan.
I'm actually the one who exposed that. That's my research.
Well, I was on those pages today, and I have to tell you, it's an overwhelming amount of information just going from one article to the next. And you have page after page after page. I might actually bring up one of my favorites, just kind of spur you on a little bit. But go on regarding that.
Somebody's asking, curious what Jan thinks about the new religion Jordan Peterson and et cetera creating. It's Jordan Peterson took over Larry's job at Harvard. He's a Marxist selling the agenda to dumb down the white male and everything. Don't buy into his stuff. It's nonsense.
Literally the same position at the same school. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, and he admits that too. But people should realize that just go out and look up the Jordan Peterson Dissected documentary that came out a few weeks ago, and that really does a good job at exposing Peterson's agenda and what he's all about. But Peterson knows full well that psychedelics is not the real logos, that it's truth, and they want. Look, when you think about it, what does Genesis 3 open with? This is what Tim Leary and Aldous Huxley brag about. And that Genesis 3 is about creating the fall of man through the promotion of illegal drugs. It's right there. And you get into every mind-controlled society. The drugs, I renamed them in 2014 to suggestogens because the drugs create or cause. James Delmar says, Jordan Maxwell dismantled. So excuse me on that. Thank you for the correction there. It's, people need to realize that this is what the drugs cause. They cause hypersuggestion. And even if you've ever heard a Beatles song in your life, people will say to me, well, what if I go in the woods and do them by myself? Therefore, I can't be influenced by other people under the hypersuggestion. Well, if you're calling them somebody's asking, curious what Jan thinks about the new religion Jordan Peterson and et cetera creating. It's Jordan Peterson took over Larry's job at Harvard. He's a Marxist selling the agenda to dumb down the white male and everything. Don't buy into his stuff. It's nonsense.
Literally the same position at the same school.
Yeah, and he admits that too. But people should realize that just go out and look up the Jordan Peterson Dissected documentary that came out a few weeks ago, and that really does a good job at exposing Peterson's agenda and what he's all about. But Peterson knows full well that psychedelics is not the real logos, that it's truth, and they want. Look, when you think about it, what does Genesis 3 open with? This is what Tim Leary and Aldous Huxley brag about. And that Genesis 3 is about creating the fall of man through the promotion of illegal drugs. It's right there. And you get into every mind-controlled society. The drugs, I renamed them in 2014 to suggestogens because the drugs create or cause. James Delmar says, Jordan Maxwell dismantled. So excuse me on that. Thank you for the correction there. It's, people need to realize that this is what the drugs cause. They cause hypersuggestion. And even if you've ever heard a Beatles song in your life, people will say to me, well, what if I go in the woods and do them by myself? Therefore, I can't be influenced by other people under the hypersuggestion. Well, if you're calling them an entheogen or a psychedelic, entheogen means to manifest, to generate God within. Psychedelic is manifesting the mind. So, or if you've heard a Beatles song in your life or any psychedelic music in your life, that program is already there, so that you don't have to have somebody sitting next to you and and giving you that program right then. It can be any time in your life that this program is coming in. They create hyper suggestibility, so that if that program is already in you, that's all it takes.
Have you ever heard of a CIA theme called "Change for the Sake of Change"? Just this kind of this hypnotic suggestion that the public would react once they felt that they weren't evolving. I think it came from an article that I read, but it listed things like the Rolling Stones and listed the idea of rolling down the river or the wheels on the bus go round and round. Like, I'm constantly seeing imagery of rolling wheels.
Yep, I know, Mr. Hall. I know.
That plays exactly what we're talking about, to this kind of hypnotic kind of trance the public's under that psychedelics help to usher in. And that's what I think a lot of people realize, is that Joe Rogan might be having these experiences or opening his mind for this generation, but only a couple decades earlier, his forerunners were people like Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. There's an overwhelming number of people, like Fred Payton on the Great Dead, Cheech and Chong. So all of these people clearly are part of this kind of hypnotic trance.
Yeah, I met Tommy Chong too back in the day. But that's correct. And what they're looking at is not logos or reason or truth as it manifests into God, like when you understand it in the Christian sense. It's seeing the expansiveness of your own consciousness and confusing that with logos, if that makes sense. And here's the thing: is the drugs, in general, they're getting you.
What? Look at your eyes. What is wrong with expanding your consciousness? For fuck's sake, Jan.
This is why the Bible, again, Genesis 3 opens with that warning. It's not, living in iniquity and fornicating in the mud to your rock idols, like at Woodstock, your graven images, your rock idols. Get it? Burning Man. They're burning the images there. But when you
postmodern art as well.
Right, yeah, and I've exposed all that stuff over the years. But when you're fornicating in the mud to your rock idols, they put this stuff in your face. That's part of the joke that they want people to fall for. They don't want you living in truth. They want you falling into iniquity. And when you get this stuff, when you understand it,
it's not, who is they now? Because you sound like they. Because you're talking, you're saying don't. You're talking about living in truth, yet staying away from power plants. See, these people are afraid of one of the 4 enemies of man, which is power. Power is a test. It's one of the 4 natural enemies of man. You can defeat power. You can defeat and conquer power. And even use power correctly. Just because you're afraid of power and you're afraid of psychedelics, don't claim to live in the truth when you clearly are not living in the truth.
That you understand that slavery comes through iniquity. Now let me put this another way. If we're in a war, let's say it's a civil war, whatever the case, and things are going down, do you want to be high on drugs and out of your mind, or do you want to be as healthy, clear in the head, and ready as you can possibly be?
Vigilance.
Right.
Honestly, it depends. Did you know that basketball players have put up their highest basketball players, football players, hockey players, tennis players, baseball players have all played their respective sports under the influence of mushrooms and LSD, crack, meth. So, guess what? Some of these people put up their best games statistically while they are under the influence of acid. LSD, putting up a near quadruple double, triple double numbers playing basketball, putting up their best numbers ever, playing their best games ever while under the influence of LSD. Pitching a perfect baseball game under the influence of LSD. Well, that's a bad, evil thing. Putting up a triple-double or a quadruple-double, which has only been done by one player in the history of mankind, or pitching a perfect game, that's just like an evil thing to do. Pitching a perfect game is evil. Psychedelics gave him the capability and the abilities to pitch a perfect game. He did it while under the influence, and clearly, so now he's an evil person. That's the logic that's going on here. Sorry, I don't follow that.
You asked me, and I've been crying out for 2 years on this topic, and vigilance is so hard to come by. It's a lifestyle choice, and I think that's part of what we're gonna have to start parsing through too. Instead of everybody's a shill, is what about the people who depend on these things for anxiety and depression, and they just don't have the strength?
It goes back to the same thing. So, and this is something that I struggled with for a while when I used to smoke weed and this kind of crap. But when you start living in truth and just living as clean and pure as you can, all of that anxiety and stuff starts to disappear. It's when you're trying to maintain lies or trying to,
I feel good. I haven't drinking alcohol and shit in here. I mean, it's like been a week. I barely drink. The Earthship Academy really helped me out. Really helped me out. Cleared me up. That's for sure.
I mean, it's like, I
haven't smoked in hours, but now that you mentioned it, it's just like, I don't like to be told, like things are bad for you when clearly they're not. I'm sitting here clear-headed, without straight-minded, without any cannabis or alcohol in me, and suddenly I used to smoke pot, like, yeah, cool. I used to smoke pot too. Yeah, I used to smoke pot. I used to. I still do.
I used to think that weed was helping my anxiety until I quit smoking weed, and then all of my anxiety totally disappeared. It was like, oh, well, you know.
Oh, so you all of your anxiety has totally disappeared, yet you think that all psychedelic people, except for 2 or 3, and podcast people are dirty people, but yet all of your anxiety is gone. Sure, you don't sound fearful or anxious at all.
No. And then you start looking around online and looking at studies from the other side, and they're saying exactly this, you know. So, you know, when you stop doing these things, suddenly the anxiety goes away. But the more you live in truth, the less you'll have problems with those sort of things. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't get, it's like, well, I have this ailment or that ailment or blah, 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 and I need weed for that, and, you know, my arthritis and cramps and stuff. Okay, well, let's go back to truth again. If you're eating a low-fat diet, which is sold by the pharmaceutical industry, and you're eating lots of grains, which are high inflammation, especially wheat, you're going to have problems that you know, that are going to be inflammatory. Now, if you cut out the grains, and especially the wheat, and you eat a high-fat diet, within 3 to 6 months, those inflammatory problems will mostly disappear. So, you know, it goes about, yeah, see, these trolls here. Yawn seems like the most anxiety-filled person in the room. You know, it's like all these attacks. They can't focus on...
Dude, you're talking about... listen, you know, it's like all these attacks. They can't focus on... Yeah, but, like, you're the one focusing on the chat room when Jesse already told you, can we just, like, talk and focus on the information and let the chat room just talk? And the chat room notices that you're the most anxious person here, and you're the one saying that they can't focus, yet you're the one not focused on the conversation, saying that other people can't focus
on the information. Weed is good as long as you out. Yeah, see, these trolls here. Yawn seems like the most anxiety-filled person in the room. You know, it's like all these attacks. They can't focus on the information. Weed is good as long as you smoke a lot of stuff. You know, you know, people really have to try to live in truth, and, you know, rather than using appeals to ridicule and fallacies to do their thinking for them. But this is
so, like, living in truth. That I just apparently living in truth means ridiculing people who live in truth. Excuse me.
You know,
I actually had an image while you were talking, just trying to juggle all these false realities and filters, all these lies that are crashing down on him. Not so much in the public eye right now, but his friend circle, people who, you know, only are loyal to Joe because Joe does favors for them in comics work. I think about that whole world collapsing in on Joe, and I feel a little guilty because I've been putting pressure on the situation. But it's exactly as you said. If you don't build a world based on lies, if you're out in yoga, and if you confess with your mouth, or if you're just living a truthful lifestyle, you don't have to juggle all those things. You don't have to go behind the scenes and start a whisper campaign with this YouTuber or that YouTuber to try to...
Or go behind people's backs and have this podcaster shut me down or run trolls on me or do hit pieces on me and have this guy over here write hit pieces and stuff to cover up my work, because you based your whole thing on this BS stoned ape theory and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. You know, that's completely garbage.
I've got that open right now. It's a page. I think this is a really... Like, as far as the structure of how you structure things, this was really hard hitting. How Darwin, Huxley, and the Esalen Institute launched the 2012 psychedelic revolutions and began one of the largest mind control operations in history. Very overwhelming as far as taking it in. But you talk about the stone ape theory in this article. You also talk about something that really, anything regarding the Esalen Institute, I think is very pointed, because, you know, Joe goes up to Big Sur every once in a while. And so that's that's the question I have.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, the Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California, is a CIA front organization that was established by Aldous Huxley and Gerald Hurd originally, and then they put frontmen Michael Murphy and Dick Price in charge of running it and keeping it going. And then, you know, it's basically, you know, they take and they use a lot of the stuff out of the Stanford Research Institute's Changing Images of Man, especially the 1974 edition. And then they take all of these ideas and, you know, phony philosophers like Joseph Campbell, who was behind a lot of Star Wars stuff, etc., the phony mythologist, he was really there to create the new...
See, this guy is calling Joseph Campbell a phony. No words. I am speechless. Jan Irving is calling Joseph Campbell a phony. Wow.
Philosophy. In fact, in my database, I've got a lot of the research on the Changing Images of Man project and what they were doing there.
Joseph Campbell's role is it?
Oh yeah, Joseph Campbell is all behind that. He was so let me just
Well, I unpackaged just by showing some images, like movies like Crocodile Dundee, two of those like body change movies that happened in the 80s. And it occurred to me about Joseph Campbell, particularly with his relationship with George Lucas, that the way that he synthesized storytelling, it's like he's coming from Aboriginal cultures, he's coming from tribal cultures, and he's saying, every story needs a shaman, right? If you're going to have a story, you need to have the wise man. You need to have, he's going to go on his quest, his vision quest.
Yeah. And
every good story has a shaman. And it's like, and it's just very obvious from the 70s and 80s.
You see, Matthew North just nailed it in the chat there too, with Alan Watson. You know what I want to do, if I may? I want to share screen here and just show your audience Changing Images of Man here, if I can get that up here. And let's see if that works. Hopefully they'll get that. But here's it should show up here in a second. Here's the Changing Images of Man project. And we can see if it's, yeah, okay, there.
Read this comment. Esalen is at the core of most of the drug culture popular, you can read it. Joseph Campbell promoted the hero's journey, which pulls folks away from the truth of God, promotes shamanism. So apparently, shamanism will take you away from God. I think he's scared of the individualistic aspects of shamanism, which clearly scare Plaster O Paris. Well, that's okay. That's quite obvious.
There you go. So we can see the key players behind it. We have Joseph Campbell up here, and you know, so that's him. The Stanford Research Institute. He was also working at the Maverick in New York, which is in Woodstock, New York, interestingly. And the Mavericks' slogan was "Do what you want to." About at the same time that Aleister Crowley was out on the rocks in the Hudson River, about 20 miles away, painting "Do What Thou Wilt." Willis Harriman, who I've exposed with CIA, Carl Rogers with CIA, working on MKUltra Subproject 97 there. But you know, these guys, Julian.
Now have
Huxley. Whenever Huxley touches anything, you know it's a hot, steaming pile. It doesn't matter which Huxley family member. It doesn't matter if it was Thomas Henry Huxley, the bulldog for Darwin. It doesn't matter which Huxley. All of their stuff, you can pretty much know right away is social engineering and garbage. I don't think I've ever come across anything Huxleyan that didn't have some, you know, serious dark agenda behind it. But, you know, James Fadiman that started micro.
Jesus fucking Christ. This dude's talking about being anxiety free.
Ferdowsian was a part of that. Ralph Metzner, who worked with Tim Leary. Here's Margaret Mead, who is Gregory Bateson's wife. Of course, Gregory Bateson co-founded the CIA. But all of these, you know, Burning Man comes out of that. But this is all the Changing Images of Man project. And this is, you know, is really what became Star Wars and all of that flows into the Fourth World Battle for the collective mind. And we can, you know, go in and see some of the agendas that are behind that, normalizing pedophilia, you know, theogenic quote-unquote experience, abortions, UFOs, the birth control pill. You know who coined the birth control pill or the pill? That's Aldous Huxley did, you know. So all of this stuff, pornography, just the whole promotion of all of this stuff, sugar, fructose in the diet. Somebody mentioned, you got to promote sugar. I sound paranoid. Wheat and sugar are the two biggest causes of disease. Wheat may even be worse than sugar, but they're both really, really high up the list.
I like cuckoldry as a whole category myself.
Yeah, so, yeah, indeed. So, yeah, here we go. I don't know what else. Yeah, that's not connected to much. 50 Shades of Grey. But you know, when people get this stuff,
CNN has been pushing.
How do I turn off there it goes. Now it should be off. So I haven't even been able to keep up on your comments here. It's like, yeah, you know, and people can, you know, for a 3-month or more recurring membership, people can go on my website and download the brain database. I used to have it for free, but I can't afford to anymore.
Dude, you couldn't sniff Aldous Huxley's fucking jocks. You couldn't hold his jockstrap, man. Like, whoa, what kind of person goes around? You're just making up lies and trying to protect. Like, I have a giant database full of incredible, legendary people, and some fucked up people. So, should I just go and say who's CIA based on my own opinion, and then pass it off as truth, which is what you're doing? There's so many frauds out there. It's ridiculous.
So, you know, and finally, someone talking about sugar and alcohol. Bruce, please realize that wheat, it's not, you know, alcohol is an issue, but wheat and sugar are the two biggest, and you cannot discount wheat. There's over 40 different diseases that are caused by wheat alone, and you go to the doctor and he sees 40 different diseases. not one central cause. Red Rose says, keep the brain up. You know, you can go on the website and go through it. Please, you know, get a membership, help support my work so that, you know, we can pay for all this stuff and keeping things going. And I have to find a place to live in the next month and a half as well. So I can use all the support I can get from all of you. Really appreciate it.
Hey, moderators, please help out his channel in the chat as we go. We need the subs up. We need to have a security blanket for the suffocation tactics. I mean, it is a big deal, honestly, that the Sandy Hook thing is like, it's like come to this really stagnant place, and people just expect it. The war is just going to disappear down memory hole. But I don't want to get into that too much. But at this time, it is, I think, important.
Like, I went to the Esalen Institute, and I had my life threatened. I went to New Mexico at the Earthship Academy for over a month. I got my life threatened in my face. Again. I spent thousands of dollars of my own money and risked my life going to these places like Esalen Institute that you're making fun of. You probably make fun of the Earthship Academy too. But that's okay, because I actually go to these places and I get certified and I graduate, and I'll actually go to these places and learn from these places instead of sit on the sidelines. But yeah, I'll keep going and give you a chance to see if you actually like have ever gone there, spent any time there, or just study from the outside. Because I met all those people, the Price and Murphy. I know his family members now. It's
important to spread each other's websites because they could just arbitrarily take logos media too now. But for the meantime, do subscribe and pay attention to Jan's work. Now, and I did just really quickly. I did just launch a BitChute channel too. You know, I actually have to pay for that one. So, but you know, any support, you know, check, you know, subscribe to the channel on BitChute everywhere because they are trying to shut me down all over the place. And it's good to see Polygonal in there. He's a good supporting member of the show. You know, it's like I used to have this guest on my show who was wealthier than all of the other guests combined, right? And then he would tell them to donate and then turn and make fun of me for asking for donations. I mean, just the most baffling kind of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of television stuff. Okay, so this is you right here. It's basically what we talked about. I really love this wording. Anything with the Esalen Institute in particular, I think, is very highly targeted for Joe. Why the Esalen Institute is multi-generational plan to evolutionize. Their idea of evolution was just for them, the elites, not the rest of society, whom they plan to dumb down and exterminate via their ideas laid forth in their many published books and programs on eugenics and humanism. Much of humanity was pushed forth by Aldous with the help of Michael Murphy and Price. Then you go on into basically this animal magnetism and hypno-trance kind of idea. Is that something that they actively promoted, is to basically get society into the state that we currently see it in, and even podcasting is the realization of that? But for instance, the Joe Rogan podcast, I mean, is that essentially do you see it that way, or is that taking that stretch? See it in what way specifically? Sorry, repeat that one point. Well, like for instance, I'm a creationist, but I imagine a lot of people aren't. When I listen to Joe, when he has astrophysics, when he has the Weinstein brothers, when he has all these particular guests, sometimes I wonder if it isn't a realization of his overall agenda. Well, yes and no. You know, and and we did a whole series exposing the Royal Society last year and all of the scientism and fake science that they've been cranking out for the last 360 or whatever years, 360 some years. But, you know, a lot of the science is complete BS. And what they do is they go through the Bible and they take everything and they invert it and sell this as science. But, you know, so all this scientism gets out there, but they were already, you know, doing that through the university systems and telling everybody, oh, anything in the Bible is BS. You know, never mind that book about truth. That book about truth is a lie. Listen to our scientism. How could anything in that book about truth be true? Even though it's all about truth, right? So, you know, Jesus over and over showing us how to live and walk in truth and be the best people that we can be. And hey, we don't want to follow that example. We want to follow the example of the scientists. And then we have, you know, Rogan and all these big podcasters that, you know, that came out in our wake nonetheless. And they you know, mislead you. I'll never forget that he had this guest on, Amit Goswami, a quantum physics professor out of Oregon, who was sitting there saying, well, you know, no two professors in quantum physics agree, and quantum physics is like witchcraft and all this stuff. You know, and it's like, that's exactly right. It's a lie. And once you you go through the Trivium method in triviumeducation.com and you study that, go through the prerequisite material like the Introduction to Logic by Leonard Peikoff and study materials on the website, and then get into David Harriman's material on the Logos Media website, and you'll see how quantum physics is a total lie. And once you get that weight of quantum physics off your shoulders, you realize all the world's problems aren't your fault.
Well, no shit, quantum physics is a big fat fucking lie.
And you know, it's I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of giving a long-winded answer to your question. Yes and no. I mean, the universities were already there doing it. but sure, the podcasters are out there promoting these agendas as well.
This is what I think is the distinction I would make. And the universities, they kind of are similar, but what a podcast is, it's an invitation to put your feet up and to relax and just superficially soak in information. So from my point of view, because there's not active engagement, some podcasts do have active engagement. Joe Rogan's podcast is the perfect delivery method for a lot of Aldous Huxley's and George Watson's work. Sam Tripoli recently did a podcast called Transhumanism with Zoltan Islam. And in this current YouTube climate, it's totally absurd that somebody would come up with a pro-transhumanism podcast with a candidate running for presidency, running on a transhumanism kick.
Hey, wait! I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know who coined the term transhumanism?
I do not.
Wait for it.
Michael Aquino?
No, Julian Huxley. Like I said, all of this crap goes back to a Huxley family somewhere.
Well, this be Huxley every time.
Oh yeah, it's almost always a Huxley. You can just pretty much guess Huxley. On my channel, they actually started a drinking game in the channel because the Huxleys came up behind this stuff so much. But
I'm going to do more digging on it. Well, I've got one more example that's not as.
I'm going to show my database really quickly while you're talking, if I may.
So this is we've never spoken before except during this disastrous tech check that you guys saw. We had a few emails exchange. We had a couple of misunderstandings in emails, but before that, no communication at all. And I kind of watched from afar as people were swarming me. But so Joe Rogan has a couple of different patterns that Matthew Ward and myself have been watching, and we've been trying to put together like what's the purpose of this thing? Why do we keep talking about this thing? And it lines up perfectly with Joe's background in athletics and martial arts. And I did a little bit more digging into Joe's booking agent. You might actually know this guy, Matthew Staggs. And Matthew Staggs has a podcast called Disinfo. Literally, it's called Disinfo, and the logo is devil horns. And Matthew has, for some reason, Staggs has an interest in blunt force trauma, in particular when it comes to head injuries. And on an irregular basis, he will book guests for Joe that have personal stories about their head injuries, in particular concussions, including Earnhardt Jr. and football players. And so that's kind of what I mean is that if you look at the podcast world, it's just overall like music. There's sort of like the melodies and there's like the types of guitar riffs that come out like Joe's constantly. But if you look deeper, you look for these deeper bass lines, you'll find some really strange chords that just don't really belong in that environment. People want to put their feet up, smoke a joint, and just enjoy themselves after a hard day. Concussions. Joe's had a lot of broadcasts about concussions.
Interesting. And the Super Bowl was a couple weeks ago, and you just reminded me that this former NFL quarterback wanted to come on my show last year at Super Bowl time and do a discussion on all of this, and then we weren't able to have the show. He had to have surgery, so it fell through. But I entirely forgot to follow up with this guy this year to have him on the show. But yeah, he was an NFL quarterback. I don't remember, which team. I'm not an NFL fan. I haven't even watched TV in a decade or so, really, except at like a restaurant or someplace.
I really love that Alex during the Super Bowl this year spoke out and said, all that mental real estate you guys have for your favorite team on sports, just think about if you were using that to take it out the order. I mean, he's always been that way about sports. But me too. I don't have the mental real estate for that stuff. I get why people get excited, but it doesn't go anywhere.
When I was in high school, I had a lot of friends that would get together every Friday night to watch the football games or whatever, and I could just never get into it. And I would try to watch, and I would see catch myself after 5 or 10 minutes just kind of drifting off into some other direction, and I just couldn't ever pay attention to it. In high school, I thought something was wrong with me, and now it's like, it's just because it's not interesting. It's like I have better things to occupy my mind with than watching guys pass the ball back and forth on the field, and try to at this point it's become trying to help people free themselves from the social engineering and mind control that's so rampant in our society.
Well, I do have respect for anybody who has mastery or tries to gain knowledge or anything about football, but in the case of a person like Joe, he's a commentator in every instance where I look, they're somehow weaponizing where he's intersecting with you. Again, on that podcast, smoking joints as often as possible. That correlates to
pushing DMT, mushrooms. And one of the most common and ridiculous arguments I should bring up against my research is mushrooms, ayahuasca. They're older than the CIA, so therefore, non sequitur. These plants couldn't possibly be used for bad. Meanwhile, when you get into the citations from like the Aztecs, from the
of course they can be used for bad. Good luck trying to use them for bad. You're gonna live a fucked up life. You're gonna be a really clearly a bad person. It's really easy to tell when someone's evil. I gotta close this off and drink some liquids. I'm gonna watch the rest of this hour in my own leisure. Appreciate you listening. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to shut this down. Have a good night. Have a good day. Go talk to your family. Go talk to your loved ones. If you're feeling sad, reach out to someone. Don't write letters to yourself. Just fucking reach out to your friends. Reach out to your family. Reach out to your friends. Don't play little games. Don't put on a fake smile.